What's up, everyone? It's your old pal Miguel here. I am the host of this podcast, Strategy Rewind. If you're not familiar with the Strategy Rewind podcast, let me talk to you a bit about the Strategy Rewind podcast. The Strategy Rewind podcast focuses on the mindset and strategies needed for a breakthrough moment. It's heard through all audio streaming platforms, and therefore I want to say thank you if you're listening audioly. Of course, if you're looking at the video, you're watching the video portion. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please consider subscribing, consider telling a friend to telling a friend, because as you share the word, it allows us to furthermore share the message. What message? The message that you and I are a work in progress. Can we admit that? You and I are a work in progress. And as such, we need to think strategically. What does it mean to think strategically? What that means is that you are able to pivot and you're able to see a solution even when you don't feel like there is one. How many times have you established a goal and it almost didn't feel like you were going to be able to accomplish it? The truth is that you and I should not allow our feelings to get in the way of living the life we want to live. Sometimes you may feel good, sometimes you may not feel good, but regardless of that, your dedication towards actually becoming a better you needs to be much more intense than whatever feeling you're feeling at the moment. What I'd like to do today is I want to talk to you a bit about journaling. And I have actually taken up the habit of journaling. I really like the opportunity to be able to think about the steps that I'm taking. I like the opportunity to be able to reflect on the decisions I've made. Let me be honest. It seems like time have really flown by. It seems as though sometimes things get so busy, so hectic, where that just kind of falls to the wayside. Maybe you can relate. And so I had to first begin to evaluate my habits. I had to first begin to evaluate where was my time going. I want to share with you a quote that I think is such a powerful quote from Napoleon Hill. And he said, both success and failure are largely the result of habit. When we talk about our habit, it plays such a major factor on the routines. These are the things we do without even thinking about it. And so we have to come to a place where we, number one, review our habits and actually consider, what am I doing that's leading me to success? Or what am I doing that's leading me to failure? And to be frank with you, when it comes down to actually being able to review and analyze the steps that I was taking, I was failing. I just was missing the mark entirely. I was not doing it in the way that I wanted to do it. I was allowing all these other things to get in the way. And so while I was at certain moments doing it, I wasn't doing it as frequent as I wanted to do. And oftentimes I would go to bed with all these things in my mind and all these thoughts and all these things I would like to do. And the to-do list seemed to get longer, longer, and longer. And so I had to review my habits and I had to review what I was doing on a constant to be able to then analyze and say, okay, here's what I need to adjust. So what I'd like to do is talk to you about the power of journaling. And I want to talk to you about a notebook that, by the way, this product is a product available to you, but it's not something that if you decide to purchase, I'm going to get any particular funds from it. In fact, they're not even paying me to present this to you. I'm just simply presenting it to you because I think it works. When it comes to journaling, I started doing this deep dive, this review of what could I do? Should I do physical? Should I do digital? And if you begin to just go on YouTube or listen to different podcasters or even read different articles, you're going to see that the consensus is very much split. Some individuals will say you want to do it with the old-fashioned pen and pad because this allows you to actually reflect as you write. There's something different about the feeling of the paper and the pen, and just something different that feels about that. And so there's a group of individuals that believe that, and there's a group of individuals that believe that you can do it digitally and still find value. In fact, if you use something like Google Docs, you can even audibly tell it what you want and it will write it for you. Of course, again, there's this consensus that may take away a little bit of the actual value of it. And so I just went through this deep dive, and after going through this deep dive, I just saw that there was this divide, if you will. Some individuals said, hey, you want to go ahead and do physical paper. Some individuals said, hey, you want to use digital because digital is forever. Well, I wanted to find a happy medium. And the happy medium that I found is the Moleskine notebook. This is the notebook that I have here. If you're watching on video, if you're not watching in video, be sure to head over to the YouTube channel of Miguel LeBron Coaching, or simply use the show note link. That way you can actually check out our YouTube channel. While you're there, consider subscribing, will you? The Moleskine notebook is a powerful notebook. The difference about this Moleskine notebook, which is goes together with the Moleskine pen, and the difference between this notebook and every other notebook is that this particular notebook does not have lines on the sheets. In fact, what it has is dots. And what these dots allow you to do is that when you are writing, it actually will pick up. Now, the question is, how will it pick up? These aren't magical dots by any circumstance or anything, right? These are just normal dots on a sheet of paper. But what happens is that with the Moleskine pen, the smart pen, at the tip of the pen, you'll also have a camera. And when you write with this pen and this pad, what will happen is, having downloaded the Moleskine Note application to my mobile phone, I can then connect the pen to my phone via Bluetooth. And whenever I write on the sheet, the camera will pick it up. And now what I have is the best of both worlds. Because not only do I have it physically written down, and not only am I going through the motion of physically writing it, but I also, because of that camera that is picking up on the motion, because of that camera, I now have it digitally on the mobile application. And so to me, this is the best solution if you are looking to get into journaling. It's the best solution. It's the best of both worlds. Not only do you have it physically and you're going through the motion and you're writing it out yourself, which I do believe there's high value in that. Just think about, for example, notes. When individuals give you a note and it's typed up, it's like, yeah, okay, thanks for typing it up. But when it's written by hand, even if it's just a quote unquote generic message, or it's not so personal, but the fact that they took time to write it out makes it that important. I know I have somewhere in my closet, I have a bunch of notes that people have written to me over the years, whether it be Christmas or birthday or Father's Day, whatever it may be, and it holds value. Why does it hold so much value? Because you know someone took the time to actually think it through and write out those words. So I would consider and I would recommend actually using the Moleskine pen with the notebook. It is the Moleskine Smart Pen with the notebook. The notebook itself, again, it's just a regular notebook, but what makes it so powerful is that the combination of two and the mobile application allows you to have what you write down not only on the physical side of things, but also on the digital side of things. Now, you may be asking, how do I divide my notebook? I'm going to go ahead and present to you an acronym that I think will be helpful for you as you begin journaling. And this acronym I wrote down several years ago, and I think I did a talk or two about this acronym, but I didn't take it a step further. And this year, I've really taken it a step further, and it's the acronym BUILD, B-U-I-L-D. This acronym BUILD is an acronym that I have essentially put on the back page of my notebook. But what I would recommend to you is that you would go ahead and use this acronym. Now, I'm going to tell you how I've used it, and I would recommend how you can use it. The acronym BUILD stands for body, which is the B. U stands for you. I stands for interpersonal relationship. L stands for leadership, and D, devotional. And so the idea would be that you would begin to establish goals for each of these things. For reference to body, with reference to you, what you want to do for yourself, right? Interpersonal relationships, what do you want to do for your interpersonal relationships? With reference to leadership and with reference to devotional. And you want to think about, how am I establishing goals in these areas of your life? Now, you can take it a step further, because then you can divide your notebook into these categories, meaning you have a set of pages that specifically is your journaling about what you're doing with your body. Are you working out? Are you sleeping? Are you eating a particular diet? What are you doing with reference to helping and nourishing and strengthening your body? Or what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing that is something that you enjoy? What is a hobby that you're taking on, right? What are you doing for yourself, maybe intellectually, emotionally, mentally? Write that down in that section and journal about that. Interpersonal relationships. How are you getting closer, becoming much more emotionally intelligent and connected with those relationships that matter? As you begin to divide your notebook using this acronym BUILD, B-U-I-L-D, what will happen is that when you sit down to journal, you can then decide, okay, this week or this day, what did I do for my body? What did I do to get better physically? Did I eat a particular way? Did I like what I eat? Did I not like what I eat? Or did I not? Did I have a cheat day, so to speak, right? Or am I working out? And if I am, how am I working out? What are the workouts that I like? What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for fun? Leadership. What are you doing to become a better leader? And you may say to yourself, Miguel, I'm not a leader, but if you are impacting anyone and serving anyone, then you are a leader. So now the question is, what are you doing with reference to leadership? And finally, devotional. Listen, my friends, you and I are not just physical beings. We are also spiritual beings. And so the idea would be that you would take a moment to meditate, to think, to ponder, to examine your steps. I have found journaling such a powerful tool. And I think the acronym BUILD is one way that you can divide your notebook. There's another way that I have divided my notebook. I go into that within my blog. You can use the link within the show notes to actually read the blog and even subscribe to it. The cool thing about it is that not only on the blog that I'm writing, not only am I sharing with you the personal things that I'm doing this year to have personal growth, but there you can also have early access to the Strategy Rewind podcast. So if you want early access to a Strategy Rewind podcast and you want to read about the strategies that I'm using, you can simply go ahead, use the link in the show notes to subscribe to my blog. And it's very simple. It's titled Miguel's Writings. That's simple, Miguel's Writings. But the really powerful thing is that you can follow along on the personal growth of a personal growth strategist. Listen, one of the things that I am truly passionate about is breaking the proverbial fourth wall. I want to break down this veil that people think that there are individuals that have it all figured out. Can we be honest? Not everybody, in fact, nobody has it all figured out. Now, the truth is that even though we don't all have it figured out, right? We don't have it all figured out, even though we don't, the truth is that there are some strategies that you can use, that anyone can use, and by using those strategies, you can have success. So you cannot have success if you refuse to work on yourself, if you refuse to actually investigate the skills, the talents, the abilities that you have. I think journaling is such a powerful tool, and you can do it daily. You can do it weekly. I personally am doing it weekly. So every week I sit down, I review what did I do this past week. And then I also plan ahead or think about what I'd like to implement for the new week. What did I like that I did this week that I actually want to continue doing? But of course, I follow through with this method of dividing the notebook. To be fair, to be frank, I don't use the BUILD method in this fashion. That is, I don't divide my notebook using the BUILD method. But as I mentioned, you can check out my blog, and there you'll see the method that I am using to divide my notebook and write down into my journal. I'm really excited for what lies ahead, not only with my personal growth, but also with the Strategy Rewind podcast and with Miguel LeBron coaching and everything that we're doing. And I'm really excited for this year because this to me is a very big, massive year. Listen, a lot of the individuals that I'm communicating with and speaking with are talking about one thing, and that's transition. That's change, growth. The truth is that if you're not reviewing your habits, as Napoleon Hill said, both success and failure are largely the result of habit. If you feel like, it's kind of gray, it's kind of difficult to decipher if you're going the right direction or not, I would encourage you to utilize the link in the show notes or simply go to miguellebron.com/coaching. That's miguellebron.com/coaching. And there you can set up a free 30-minute strategy session, because truly, you can have a good goal, but not have a good strategy. And this is why many individuals fail when it comes time to accomplishing their New Year's resolutions. The resolution isn't the issue. The detail comes down to the strategy. Are you using the appropriate strategy in order to be able to have your breakthrough moment? I believe that if you start journaling, you'll begin to review and see and decipher where are you investing your time. And from there, you'll be able to start doing some work. But again, if you need that extra help, go ahead and use the details in the show note links, or visit miguellebron.com and set up a free 30-minute strategy session. This could be the one move that changes your entire year. This could be the one step you've been missing for your breakthrough moment.